strange mystical trinket, half protruding from an unmarked grave. Pulling the trinket free, you feel an overwhelming sense of evil and malice, and as dark thoughts begin to cross your mind, you hear a helicopter overhead and the crashing sound of something big landing behind you. Turning around, you see the 7-foot half-demon himself, Hellboy, of the famed Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense, and he has a warrant for your arrest. Pleading for innocence, Hellboy won't hear any of it, accusing you of activating evil trinkets and dooming the world. And as Big Red bears down on you, you realize there's only one way you're getting out of this very unfortunate mix-up. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Infographics You vs. series. Today we're pitting you up against the Harbinger of the Apocalypse, affectionately known as Peanut, but called Hellboy by his enemies. Hellboy is the son of the demon Duke Azael and the human witch Sarah Hughes. Consorting with Azael as his bride, Sarah repented for the sins of her youth on her deathbed and asked her son and daughter to watch over her body for 3 days when she died, after which she would be free of Azael's grasp. Upon her death, Azael returned to Earth to claim his bride, immediately incinerating Sarah's human children and dragging Sarah to Hell, where she died, again giving birth to Hellboy. Upon his birth, Azael cut off Hellboy's right hand and attached the right hand of Doom in its place instead. Enraged at this act, the other Dukes of Hell came for Azael and Hellboy, but Hellboy was sent away before they arrived, and Azael was frozen in ice for eternity. Hellboy would reappear 300 years later in 1944, summoned by the evil mage Grigory Rasputin, who had summoned Hellboy as the Harbinger of the Apocalypse with the aid of the Third Reich. Unfortunately for Rasputin and his Nazi allies, Hellboy appeared in a churchyard where an elite team of American soldiers had been sent to investigate the dark ritual. Befriended by First Sergeant George Whitman, the soldier christened the small half-demon Hellboy, receiving his official name. Hellboy was then moved to the US and raised to be an agent of the BPRD, where he would have to constantly prove himself as being truly good, despite his demonic origins over and over again. Now Hellboy's next assignment has him coming after you, and misunderstanding or not, he's not keen on striking up any bargains for your life. So how are you going to defeat him? As usual, to fight your enemy, you must first know your enemy and what he, she, or it is capable of. Hellboy is a conflicted creature, his very birth meant to bring about the destruction of the earth and its human inhabitants. That leaves Hellboy with a bit of a muddled personality, but is generally thought of as a reluctantly good guy who is greatly misunderstood. There's no denying the effect of his demonic blood though, and he can be prone to violent rages. Hellboy's most notable feature is his right hand, the right hand of Doom. The hand is completely invulnerable to any mortal weapons, and when wielded with Hellboy's formidable strength, is in essence a giant sledgehammer. The hand itself is a legendary artifact, originally the right hand of a greater spirit known as Anum, one of the first of God's creations. Anum in turn created the great dark dragon Ogdru Jahad, who in turn spawned a race of destructive nightmare creatures, which set about to claim their own dominion over the early Earth. The other greater spirits fought the dragon and its spawn, and after defeating them destroyed Anum completely for his sin, sparing only his right hand. The hand now has a deep connection to Ogdru Jahad, and dooms Hellboy to a destiny of eventually unleashing the sleeping dragon. Hellboy's right hand of Doom is backed up by a prodigious amount of strength. His half-demon heritage gives him the ability to lift objects up to 5 tons in weight, and he's able to tear loose large trees and throw them at opponents, which means you'd better be up on your 5 Ds of dodgeball. Along with his superhuman strength, Hellboy is very resilient to physical damage, but not completely invulnerable. He can be stabbed, shot, beaten, and bludgeoned, but his incredible stamina and endurance make him very difficult to keep down or seriously injure. Hellboy backs up this super durability with a healing factor that's on par with superheroes such as Wolverine, and makes his recoveries from wounds a matter of seconds to minutes, making it seem as if he's completely invulnerable. He's not though, and can't be damaged by conventional means. It just takes a lot of hurt to keep him down. Also, despite his demonic origins, Hellboy is not immune to fire, although his greatly accelerated healing might make it seem like he is by replacing damaged tissues almost as fast as they're consumed. Along with being tougher than a Mack truck and hitting as hard as one, Hellboy also has incredible eyesight, with vision that's far better than any normal human. He also has the innate ability to comprehend most ancient and magical languages, drawing from the innate knowledge stored in his demonic blood. He is also extremely resistant to aging, and though nearly 80 years old today, still appears to be in his mid-20s. It's not known if Hellboy is immortal like most demons or simply ages extremely slowly. Along with his supernatural abilities though, Hellboy makes full use of advanced human equipment and is able to use just about any piece of gear or weapon you'd be able to, making him particularly dangerous to face. So just how are you going to defeat the Harbinger of the Apocalypse? First, always choose your battlefield and force the fight on your own terms. In this case, you're going to want to fight somewhere cold. Really cold, because Hellboy hates cold weather. This might be part of his demonic heritage, or it might just be that cold weather pretty much sucks for anyone. Whatever the case, you want to throw Hellboy off his game. But even more importantly, you want to take steps to avoid some of the gadgets Hellboy is going to be bringing to the fight. If it's not bad enough that Hellboy is super tough and super strong, remember that he has access to some of the most advanced military equipment on Earth. In this case, that's going to include thermal imagers, which you'll need to avoid. Though normally you'd stand out like a beacon against a cold backdrop, dressing in several layers can help minimize your heat signature dramatically. But you'll be adding to your thermal camouflage by setting large fires throughout your battle space and making sure that you feed those fires with discarded car tires. The burning rubber is an absolute health hazard that'll just kill your lungs, but it'll also fill the air with rubber particulates, which can wreak havoc on thermal imagers. The thick smoke will also block Hellboy's use of night vision if he so chooses, though night vision is more easily defeated with the use of several well-placed infrared spotlights. Invisible to human eyes, infrared light is clearly visible on night vision and can easily overload an image, whiting out the night vision goggles. So now you've got Hellboy blinded and more than a bit irritated at the freezing weather, making him reckless and impulsive. That's perfect, because the whole time he's been tramping through the snow trying to find you through the sooty air, you've been biding your time, waiting for him to get closer and closer until he falls into your waiting trap. VX is a synthetic nerve agent developed in the 1950s for use as an insecticide. In trials, VX worked wonders on eliminating local pest populations, but unfortunately it proved to be absolutely bonkers at killing literally anything else as well. The poison was quickly canned and research taken over by the US military, who developed it for use as a nerve agent in case an enemy ever used chemical or biological weapons against America. As a nerve agent, VX targets a molecule called acetylcholine, an important catalyst in exchanging messages between nerve cells. If acetylcholine is not broken down by an enzyme catalyst known as acetylcholinesterase, then the molecule will keep transmitting the same message between nerve cells over and over again, without end. VX works by preventing the breaking down of acetylcholine, so that nerves are stuck firing the same repeated message incessantly, which inevitably leads to muscle contractions that are out of control and asphyxiation. As one of the deadliest nerve agents ever created, VX can kill in concentrations as small as 3 micrograms per kilogram, giving a pound of the stuff a killing potential of a lot, and we mean a lot of people. Armed with a simple tranquilizer rifle and a 2-ounce dart, a single hit of VX directly into Hellboy's bloodstream is gonna end this fight pretty quickly. Hellboy is extremely resilient versus natural afflictions and all but immune to disease and illness. But VX is a synthetic compound that works in a way that completely surpasses all of Hellboy's supernatural healing abilities. The synthetic nerve agent will slip right past Hellboy's healing factor and fry his nerve cells, leaving them turned permanently to on and causing massive convulsions and eventually death by asphyxiation. Half demon or not, Hellboy does still need to breathe after all. The world may be full of scary things that go bump in the night, but modern science has given us the tools to bump them right back, completely circumventing their supernatural defenses with a bit of one of the most noble of sciences, chemistry. Of course, you did just murder one of the Earth's greatest champions against the hordes of hell itself, so while you're patting yourself on the back, don't forget to find yourself a nice seat to watch the pending apocalypse